Alright, so welcome back to the coding. In today's video, we're going to learn the basic of Redux. So this is what the demo look like. So as you can see, we create a simple to-do app. So you can add to-do. So this I'm adding the new task. So let's say hello, or maybe take the trash out. And then I click add right here, and then you can have the button delete, and you can have see an action that we perform on the right side right here. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so here I'm using VS Code, so you can use any ticket that you want. I'm using create React app with Yarn, and so this is an empty project that I'm gonna display. Welcome back to the coding, and I already created two components, but this component is empty. And in here we app.js, it just display the h1 right here. So the first thing first that you need to do, you need to install this one. So Redux and React for Redux into the project, and also we need to add the extensions, so like the dev dependency, the dev tool extension, and React Redux Locker. So for this dependency, it's gonna allow us to view the inspector of the Redux in the browser. Right now, if I press F12 and I go to Redux, and we cannot see anything just yet. And if and also you need to install the Redux from the Chrome as well. So I'll leave the link in the description, so you can go ahead and add this one to your browser. And after you add this one, you might need to refresh your browser as well. Alright, so let's get started. So this is the step that we're gonna do. The first thing first that we're gonna do is to create a store, or it means that we're going to create the initial, the default state of the application. Basically, it's the do state, and then we're gonna set up dev tool so that we can view this on the browser. Alright, so let's do that. So to do that, we're going to I think I'm gonna remove something that we don't need, and then okay, right now I can create the store. So this one is going to store the state of application. So we have some action, so I'm going to explain what this action is, and then also the reducer. So, and also we're going to have the index.js right here, and I export this one. Okay, the reducer right here, basically the reducer here is it's going to be like the state of our application. If you have, let's say, to-do reducer.js, or if you want to have a user, and we also have a user as well, like the state of the user. And yeah, so I'm going to create the, oh, no need for that. So in to-do reducer right here, we're gonna have initial state. So initial state equal to, and now an object that is gonna be a to-do that is gonna add one array, and then it's like a default task. So LULT and task. Great. And then this is the reducer. To-do reducer equal to, this is a state. We have passed a state as a parameter, and now we're gonna put the initial state and the actions. So I'm gonna explain what is one, and now we're gonna based on the action. So let's say when we want to manipulate the state, we're gonna have some action, right? So actions, let's say case action add, or action remove to do, or add to do. It is fall into the action right here. So for now, I'm gonna just we do not do anything with the action just yet, so I'm gonna just return the state. Basically, the state right here is gonna be the initial state. The initial state is an object that happens to do right here. And then I'm gonna export default, and then to do reducer right here. I think there's no S. Okay, great. So now we have our to do reducer right here. So we need to put this one in our store, so that we can use that in our application. So in here, what I can do is I import create store, this one, I think. Alright, so I'm just from Redux, and now we can const store equal to create store. Alright, create store, and now we're gonna pass our reducer. So we're gonna do to do reducer, and voila. So now I can export con the store right here. Okay, and then we can provide this store into our global and our application. So to do that, we can go into the index.js, which is the root of our application, and now we can wrap the apps right here with the provider, which is come from the React Redux. And now we can, this one we're gonna pass the props, that's gonna be store. Now we're gonna get this store that we just created. And now we do not see anything just yet, but we can do in our list of to do right here. I can do create this one. So I already create the two component, the list of to do and add this add to do. So the list of to do, we can read the state of that, but as you can see, we do not set up the Redux dev2 extension just yet, so we cannot see it right here. But I'm gonna first I'm gonna make sure that there's a state in our the default state that we provide. So we can do const right here, constant to do is gonna be equal to use selector. So this is use selector from React Redux, and now we're gonna have a state that the state is gonna be state.todos, and then we can do it to-dos. We can loop this one to-dos.map.to-do, and now we're gonna have the key for this one, and then we're gonna return the h1 of to-do, and then also we need to add the key for this one as well. It's going to be equal to a key. Okay, and then I can import this one, list of to do, and you can see right now we have a default task which just came from our reducer. I will go back and a to do reducer right here. So now everything is working, so then we can have a create initial state, and then we need to set up the dev tool so we can view our state in the dev tool. So to do that, we need to go back into our store, and we can go into the GitHub right here that's explain on how to do that. So basically we're using the 1.3 right here. That's why we need to install this extension, but we do in the beginning of the video. And so we're gonna do this one. So I'm gonna copy and paste this one, and also we need to apply middleware. So what we need to do is to compose with dev tool and apply middleware, and now what we're gonna do is to do locker. Now if we go back and we refresh, we can see that this one is working. So our Redux state is working. So now we go back to state. As you can see, we have the to do state that we can see right here. So if I were to add another, let's say task 1 in here, now if I refresh and then go to state, as you can see we have the default task and the task 1. Alright, perfect. So I think that's pretty much it. So I will set up dev2, and now we also render the state as well. We finish this one as well, and right now we need to do the perform actions. So what is an action? Let's say what action is for the first, I need to create the add to do right here. So I'm gonna have a really simple, this one is gonna be input, and now we're gonna have a state to store the value of our input. This is gonna be a title of a task, and then we're gonna set title, and then it's gonna be equal to use state, and then I'm gonna give this an empty, and then I'm gonna give the value of this one. It's gonna be the titles, and when we on chain, so what I can do is this is gonna have a parameter e, and now we're gonna set title and then event target dot value. All right, great. And now we're gonna have some button, and then it's gonna say add new task. And then I'm gonna import this one into our app.js is add to do. All right, great. Now I'm going to put on top right here. So right now what we're gonna do is we want to perform the action. Let's say whatever in here, when I add a new task, is gonna update our state right here. So to do that, we need to go back into our store, and then we need to create an action right here. So this one I can do, let's say to do actions.js, and in here we can, what we can do, actually we can do it's directly into to do reducer, and we can go back to reducer and in here. So as you can see, we have switch case action type. So what is this action type? I will explain in a minute. So for now, but let's say case, so we case the type of the action is say add to do. So this is the type of the our action. So for that we need to handle whenever like the action case, the action is to do, add to do, what we need to do is to update our to do is by doing this. So I'm gonna do state the to do, this is from a previous to do, and also we need to add a new to do, and add to do is from the actions dot title. But you might not know, you might ask where the hell is this one. So for that, let's go back into do action. So we're gonna create the cons add to do, and then it's gonna take a parameter, the title, and then it's going to return, actually we can do this in the arrow function. We're gonna return the type is gonna be add to do, type is add to do, and also the title, okay, which is right here. I think actually we need to do this one. Okay, so then I can export this one. So you can see this is an action that we going to use that in our component. So when we call this one, it's gonna perform the type, the action type is to add to do, and then it's gonna have the object title. So then in our to do reducer, we can have the case add to do right here, and then the action.title, which just came from this action right here. So the add to do right here need to match this one. If you do not match, so it in to do reducer, it's gonna look at that the add to the name of this one, so the type of this one. So for that, if we need to go back into our add component, so what we can do, we can in here we can call cons use dispatch. So it's gonna be dispatch, and now we can use dispatch, and this one is come from the Redux. And so then whenever the button is on call, so when it's on click, so in here, so we're gonna do on click. So when it's on click, we're gonna call dispatch, and now we're gonna call our function that we just create in our action. So add to do right here. So action to do action, and then this is a function. Then it take the parameter title. So it's going to be past the title of our value right here. And now I think everything that should work. If we refresh, now if we add, so task 2, and now I add this one. As you can see, we add the task 2, and also we show the action that we perform, the add to do right here, which is great. All right, so right now we need to add more in this one, and this one is we don't want to, if you don't want to use this one as the string, you can, what you can do is you can do like this. You can do export cons add to do. So this one you can change, you can do add to do equal to add to do and then you can just use the add to do right here. And also in our reducer, so to do reducer, we can do just in case add to do as well. So in case add to do, we're gonna do this one, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Right now, we can do is to delete to do it's exactly the same thing, and then we're gonna do cons remove. Maybe you can try to pause this video and try to do it on your own. Let's try to do it, remove to do. So remove to do, and then we're gonna do this one, export cons remove to do is gonna be, we're gonna need an ID for our to do, and we're gonna return the types is gonna be remove to do. Let's see, remove to do, and then we're gonna get the ID, this one. All right, perfect. And on our reducer, what we can do is we can case remove to do, and then we're gonna handle this one. So when this case is happening, so we can do to do's, and then we're gonna do some filter, the state dot to do's dot filter, and now we have this one we not use, and then we can have the index. Actually this one is not in action, it's not gonna be ID, it can be index right here. And in here we're gonna do the index that's not equal to actions.index. Action.index. So this one is gonna remove whatever, like we're gonna delete whatever we click on the ID, the index that's not equal to the current index that we click. So in that we can go into our list of to do, and then in here, instead of just return the h1, I'm gonna return a div that is gonna have the buttons called delete. And then on this one, I'm gonna do on click is gonna be call dispatch. So we're gonna create a dispatch right here is equal to use dispatch, which is from Redux, and then this one I'm gonna call dispatch, and then we're gonna call the function that we just create, remove to do, and then we're gonna pass the key, which is the index key right here. All right, so now if I refresh, now if I click this one, as you can see, it just removed what to do, and then you can see right here as well. Now we have task 2, and then I click add, and now we can remove. All right, perfect. I think that's pretty much it. All right, so next we're gonna take a look at the multiple reducer. So in our application, we might have a multiple state. So which is, let's say this one we have the to-do state, and also we want to have a user state, so that whether the user is authenticated or not. So all right, so that's it. So we can create the state for that. So we can do use a user reducer, and then .js, and it is quite similar to this one. And I'm gonna copy and paste this one, and I'm gonna remove this one, and also this one as well. And our initial state is one thing that we can do auth is gonna be false. All right, great. And then this is gonna change to user reducer. Okay. And then to use the multiple reducer, we need to combine all of the reducer in one, and then we can create a store with the all reducer. So to do that in the reducer, I'm gonna create the index.js. This one is combine all. It's going to combine all of reducer. So for that, I'm gonna create a all reducer. All reducers gonna be equal to combine reducer, which is this one, but we're gonna use ES6. So from Redux, so from Redux, yep. Okay, and then combine reducer, and then we need our reducer. So it's gonna be to do reducer, and also with our, so this is gonna be an object. So we're gonna be to do's, and then we're gonna do to do reducer, and also with the user, and it's going to be user reducer. User reducer. All right, so then we're gonna export this one, and then that's pretty much it. So, and then inside our store right here, outside our reducer in index.js, instead of to do reducer, we're gonna import the all reducer, and then I'm gonna remove the to do reducer right here. So now if we refresh our page, and then we go back, okay, there's something wrong with that, so we're gonna take a look at that. It's, you can see in our state we're gonna have the two state. The first one is gonna be a to-dos, and then this one is gonna be the user. It's gonna be us right here. So in our to-do right here, instead of call it to-dos, I'm gonna call this as a task. All right. So then in our state, you can see we have a to-dos and task, and the user we can have us. So now we're gonna fix these problems. So back into our component list of to-dos, instead we do not have to-dos anymore. So we have to-dos, and then it's gonna be dot task. And then in this one I can call this one as a task, and then this one is a task as well. All right, so now everything is worked. So now let's do, if I add a task to add. So now it's wrong because in our state, in our action, let's say our to-do action, to-do reducer, is wrong because I changed not from to-dos to task. This one. So actually it's going to change to task. This one also task as well. So now if we refresh, I hope it works. So remove, it worked, and I'll do task 2, and then it's work as well. All right, perfect. And also we're gonna use our use state app, not use state, our user state. So back into our app.js, one thing we can do is to const user is gonna be equal to use selector. Now we have state, and then we're gonna do state dot. So if we refresh our page, and now in the state we can see dot user right here, dot user. And then we can do if user dot auth, and now we're gonna show button logout. Basically, if the user is authenticated, we're gonna do logout. Else we're gonna do the button login. I see. Okay, the else right here. I do it wrong. Okay, as you can see right now, we do, because of the authentication is full, then we're gonna show the button login. All right, I think that's pretty much it. And your challenge is there's some challenge that I want you to do, and let's see if you know, if you can get from this tutorial. Is you can try to, your challenge is gonna do the implement the toggle login button and logout. So which is when I click on this one, it should switch from the auth right here to true, and then if I click again, it's gonna be full, and then that's the toggle that we're gonna do. This is your challenge. All right, so the last thing that we're going to do is to we're going to kind of like simplify this one. As you can see, we don't want to use this use selector and use this patch right here. We want to connect this one with the Redux directly. So for that, we in Redux come in with the connects API right here. That allows us to map our state into the props. So that's what we're going to do. So for that, I'm going to work with add to do right here. So first, I'm going to cut the export default right here to the bottom, and then I can do export default add to do, and then I'm gonna have this one. So in like this one, we can only use this patch right here. So one thing, the thing that we can do is we can do maps this patch to props, which is right here. I'm gonna copy and paste this one, and then I'm gonna remove this guy, and also I'm gonna remove the dispatch right here also. Okay, so then in here we're gonna use the connect, and then we're gonna wrap this one, and then so like this one, as you can see, we map this patch to the props. So which means our dispatch right here, instead of we using this right here, it's gonna, our add to do is gonna pass as a props. So for that, it's gonna, this one is gonna return add to do, and this to do is gonna be a function that's gonna take the dispatch right here, and now we're gonna call add to do. Now we're gonna have the title, and there's a parameter. It's right here. All right, perfect. And in here, I'm gonna remove this one, and then we're gonna pass this one into here. And then also this one is, you need to pass this one as the null, because this one is the first one is gonna map the props, map the state to props, and the second argument is gonna be map this patch to props. If you don't use this, if you just only this one, it's gonna be, this is gonna be the first parameter, and then so we need to pass this one to be null. All right, so then in here, one thing that we can do right now, we can destructure our prop, and then we can access it to do right here. And then I can use the to do right here, and then I can pass the same as before, the title from this our state. And voila, so now I save this one, and this one we're not going to use this one, and we go back into our application and we refresh, and I can do a task 2, and voila, so that it works. And also we're gonna do the same things to our list of to do, but this one we're gonna do map to state to prop, and also map dispatch as well. So for that, I can go back into our documentation, and this one is the map state to props. I'm gonna copy this one, and this is and the same thing, we're gonna do connect, and then like this one, and yeah. So in here, this is our own props that maybe that you pass from the another one, and if you can, let's say you pass it from the top the states. I'm going to show you for this one. Let's see, our own props.id. Okay, for now I'm going to remove this one, and also the to-dos. Okay, so then same as before, we can call state dot to do dot task, so which is the same thing as we do right here. And then we go back into our application, and we have our state, and we have the to-dos, and then we have the task right here, which is state to-dos dot task, and then this one is going to be a task. And then we're going to pass this one into our props, and then you don't have to pass this null, but I think it's a good practice if you pass the null right here, which just means like our map dispatch to prop is null. And then inside right here, I can remove this line. Instead, I can pass the top task as a props. Now if I refresh, it worked the same way, and voila. So if I add the task to, and then if I add remove, everything works the same way it is. And also this is going to be your challenge, is you're going to convert this dispatch right here, similar to what we do at the add to do right here. We're going to do map dispatch to props, and we're going to use right here. So basically we're going to copy and paste this one, and this is going to be your implementation. So this is going to be your challenge, and you can actually try to do this on your own. And also inside our app right here, we also use this one as well, so you can try to implement the map state to prop right here on your own, and then yeah, you can actually try to do that. And if you have any question, or when you do that, if you have run some bug, you can ask me in the Discord server. I leave the link in the description as well, so you can join our Discord and you can discuss what's gonna happen and what's wrong. And then yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video, and I hope you learn some things from this video. And if you have any question, yeah, feel free to ask me in the Discord server, or you can comment below as well. Alright, so I think that's it for this video. See you guys in the next video. Peace.